Here back for another update. Let's take a look at XRP over here on the weekly time frame. And what we see with XRP is a macro wedge, okay, on the weekly time frame. So the price is very squeezed. And when it does break out of this wedge over here, we're going to see, to the naked eye, it's going to look like one straight line up. And the reason XRP is taking so long is just because it's preparing itself, the structure is preparing itself for this squeeze to occur. And in order for this squeeze to occur in such a highly volatile manner, there needs to be consolidation. And this is perfectly normal. Everything that's happening with XRP is perfectly normal in regards to market structure. So what we see over here on the weekly stochastic is bullish divergence. So if we zoom in a little bit over here, you see how we have a lower low, but then a higher low on the weekly stochastic, and we also see it turning up. So that's very significant. Moreover, we also see the Bollinger Band width at the lows. So anytime the Bollinger Bands get squeezed or coiled up here in this blue zone, in this zone right over here, okay, this is actually the 2-week Bollinger Band width indicator. This is the Bollinger Band width indicator with the time frame being 2 weeks. And the reason I set it to 2 weeks is because we can see the macro trend better and because high time frame takes precedence over the lower time frames. So we see that it's very squeezed over here. And remember, in the markets, there's always yin and yang. There's always a 50-50 exchange. Okay, so whatever comes up must come down, and whatever goes down must come up. Okay, it's never one-sided unless it's a shitcoin and there's a huge sell-off. But we don't see that here with XRP. We actually see the price very coiled up. So when we take that concept into mind, we see that the Bollinger Band width is at the lows here, and we're ready for this pop up to occur. It looks like the price is coiled up here, and the Bollinger Bands are very tight, and we're going to see this move up here to extremes on the sell side. Okay, so the weekly time frame looks perfect with XRP. Let's take a look at the Wyckoff accumulation schematic that we have going on here. Now, I know I said in my last video that what we have with XRP. So I'm going to show you the full structure we have with XRP here, okay? This over here is the creation of the coin. You go up, founders sell at the extension, they buy at a 90% discount, and then the structure starts from there. Okay, if you guys haven't seen my Pulse X video, go ahead and take a look at that. I show that this structure over here, that's the first phase before we start our market structure, before we have exponential gains. Okay, so creation of the coin, founders sell at the extension, buy it all back up at the lows, and then the structure starts from there. This over here is your first leg in the market. Okay, so this over here was our first leg. Okay, when we had that first leg, when we have this first leg over here, we're going to have a 3-wave move down. So we need to have an ABC correction after having this explosive move up, because remember, it can't just keep going up in one straight line. And because there's so much accumulation, and because this structure needs to continue, and factoring in the size of this market cap, it makes sense why this accumulation or this ABC correction took this long. Instead of doing this from 2018, a simple ABC, and then going up, what we did was this: ABC down, ABC up, and then a 5-wave move to the downside. This is the exact structure we're doing with XRP right here. Okay, so we had the first leg in the market, then we had an A, B, C correction, and then what did we do at the lows? At the lows, we went sideways. Now, to the naked eye, you would think that this coin is dead because it hasn't really performed in relation to the other altcoins. But I just want to let you know that all of these moves over here are not random, right? You have your preliminary supply, so it's one last upswing before you have a capitulation move to the downside. I believe this was when the FTX news came in, or right over here, I believe. So we had our selling climax, right? This is when all of the retail capitulate their bags. We then have an automatic rally to the upside, secondary test, fail breakout of the range. Okay, I know a lot of people who bought over here and then held through all of this drawdown. Fail breakout, we then see a move below this psychological support for our secondary test in phase B. And composite operator fills up their bags once more to then drive the price all the way up to your second fail break of the range, come down and chop mid-range for our last point of support into your sign of strength when Ripple has its victory against the SEC. And then we go into over 309 days of our backup phase. Okay, so in total, this is over 685 days of accumulation, this whole entire range, and just this backup phase alone is almost a year long. Okay, so what does that tell you with what the price is about to do? This is exactly where we are with XRP. Right over here. And we're coming to the end stages of phase D and we're going into phase E. Okay? So XRP does look very primed. Right now it's just chopping up. It's just chopping at the lows here. And it is above the 50 and 21-day moving average. It's just above it, consolidating here at support. But once you get over the 30-week, right over here at 0.5732, and then find a weekly close above it, or even multiple daily candle closes above the 30-week moving average at 0.5732, then it's game on for XRP, right? Then we can say, okay, now we found support above the 30-week. It's very likely we're going to see a breakout of this macro wedge. And when we see that breakout, it's gonna be very explosive. And what I like to call it is the point of no return, right? Once you enter into phase E, that's your point of no return. We'll likely never come back down to this range over here once you get into this phase E. Okay, so we're at the point where, you see a lot of altcoins going up and all of these explosive coins going off, and you think that the opportunity cost is lost, right? But no need to worry. XRP is consolidating before we have this huge squeeze, and this squeeze can happen anytime. Okay, it can happen today, it can happen tomorrow, in the next hour. But all you need to know, and the XRP community, I feel like they worry themselves sick. And the reason for that is because they're not seeking advice from professionals. Because what we see here is the accumulation coming to an end. Don't forget that all of these moves over here are not random. Okay, this is the composite operator. This is the composite operator accumulating at all the pivot points. And look how perfect this is when we keep in mind the algo these composite operators like to use. We perfectly come down to the 70.2% fib once we finish our backup phase. Right over here. Let me see here. You see how we came down to the 702 here? You see how this was your wedge, like this? This was your psychological support. So this was considered our trendline liquidity. You have a bunch of stops piling up under this trend line, right? And then you have the market flush, take out all of that, take out all of these stops, take out the trendline liquidity. And where does it wick to? It wicks to the 70.2% fib measured from our wave 1 low up to our wave 1 high. So it's very significant, and when we take a look at this from an ICT point of view or an ICT point of view, we can even say that this over here was our accumulation. Okay, this is considered accumulation because it's a wedge, right? I know a lot of people who are accumulating here. This was accumulation, okay, and any price action below the wedge is considered our manipulation. Okay, because to the normal eye, you would think that okay, it's below the wedge. We're likely going to see continuation down here like this. It would just make the most sense to the naked eye, right? But when we analyze this, factoring in these concepts, these trading concepts, we can see that no, this over here is your manipulation before we have our expansion. Okay, so this is the power of 3. This is the exact same thing that happened with Bitcoin. So this was your accumulation, right? This was your manipulation. And then we have distribution or expansion. And we see that the exact same thing happened with Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here. Okay, so this is Bitcoin. And what do we see here on the daily time frame? We see accumulation, right? This was your accumulation. Or I'll put these boxes so you guys can see better. Okay, so this over here was your accumulation, right? People were accumulating here. This over here was your manipulation. You see how we have an overthrow of this channel, of this macro psychological support. Okay, so this over here is where the composite operator was accumulating. Right over here. This is when Sailor was telling you he's buying over here. Okay, and then it went bloop, went right under the range, and this is where he was actually accumulating. And this is what composite operators do all the time. And now we're starting our distribution phase. You see, or our expansion phase, and this is exactly what we did right over here. Okay, you see, manipulation under the range, and then expansion. What about in 2023, right? Manipulation under the range and then expansion. What about over here? Manipulation under the range and then we start expansion. It's the same thing over and over again. Once the market gets to extremes, this is where the composite operator accumulates, and it's no different with XRP. So when we take a look at XRP's wave count over here, from all the way back to 2014, we have our wave 1, then we have a WXY correction for our wave 2, we have a very explosive third wave to the upside, and then a fourth wave lasting over 100 days, right? So that was over 100 days of reaccumulation before we went ahead and finished up at our golden pocket here. Okay, we perfectly came up to the golden pocket. So if we take a look here, it perfectly called the top here. You guys see that? Perfectly topped out at the golden pocket there, right? And then we come down for a ABC correction. Okay, remember I said over here. Sorry, let me see here. Remember I showed you guys this? This was our 2018 top. So you come down for an ABC correction here. 3-wave move down in our A, 3-wave move up in our B, and then a 5-wave move to the downside in our C. Then we come up for our B wave. Right over here, we come up for our B wave. 5-wave move up in our A, in a leading diagonal formation, 3-wave move down in our B, and then another 5 up for our C, for our B wave. Now we come down for a C wave. And in the C wave, we're going to have a 5-wave move to the downside with a truncation in the 5th wave. And then we start our wave 1. Then we start our wave 1 right over here. Okay, so from our second test in phase B up to our sign of strength, that was your wave 1. And then we went into over 308 plus days of reaccumulation, or our backup phase, in a WXY correction. And the whale orders get filled at the 70.2% fib. These over here, these fibs over here, right over here, these are your DCA levels. Okay, so don't be surprised if XRP does something like this. Okay, that's why you want to DCA now all the way down here. Okay, in order for the anticipation of your macro 3rd, 4th, and 5th wave to the upside, it would be very, very explosive. Okay, now I have these targets in my Discord, so if you haven't joined the Discord, please click the link in the description below. You get access to over 350 assets. You get all of these coins here. This is your watch list, your XRP ecosystem, finance, all of these coins here. And you get access to a community. You can ask me any question you want, and I go through all the roadmaps here. You have research fundamentals, you have everything over here. It's like pretty much everything you need in crypto, it's within this Discord. So if you haven't joined the Discord, please click the link in the description below to get access to the XRP targets and roadmap. So this is XRP here, guys. Nothing to worry about. I know you guys are worrying yourself sick over XRP not moving, but nothing to worry about, because look where we are in the grand scheme of things. We're right before we start this expansion phase. Okay, so everything is looking good here. I hope you guys enjoyed the XRP video. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Peace out, and take it easy. See you in the next one.